to WeekNGeek, your new comics preview for July 4th, Independence Day. I'm Mike Ortiz.
I don't know how independent. I got to be at work. And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
I'm going to kick it off here with A versus X round 7. I've been liking this. Admittedly, I didn't have time last week to read 6, and a lot of people said it kind of turned a corner and really kind of started pushing forward and doing some crazy things. Guys that were naysayers were suddenly totally on board, from that 6th issue.
Now it's not the book everybody thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the predictable book everyone was expecting is not happening. So, but I'm looking forward. I'll probably get a chance to sit down and read the 2 of these in the next day here. Then we've got Animal Man number 11 by Jeff Lemire. This book has been fantastic still. I still really dig it. It looks like we've got different art than in that first and Travel Foreman, but it doesn't look like who stopped on next.
Yeah.
Because this looks a little bit more like closer to Travel Foreman, but a little bit sharper. Good stuff though. Jeff Lemire is a great writer. I really enjoy this book.
He's really broken out with this new DC.
Yes.
This really was a great thing for him.
Well, I agreed. Yeah, I mean, Sweet Tooth's a great book, but now seeing him get to do some other things is pretty cool. Then we've got issue 3 of Danger Club by Image Comics. I have not had a chance to read the second one yet. The third one was pretty crazy though. All the sidekicks kind of kill the big bad sidekick, and all the heroes are gone, so the sidekicks are left ruling the world. And it looks dark and creepy, and some strange stuff is going on. That first issue was really violent. But
I actually did pick it up.
Did you read it yet?
Recommendation. Yeah, I read both issues. This is a really good book.
Okay, yeah, I still got to read 2. I managed to fall behind on that.
It's another one that's like, it's not. I thought it was going to be a Brat Pack knockoff, but it's actually It's got a little. It's a tighter story than I thought. It's more clever than I thought. It's a solid book.
Right on. Next up, we've got Dial H number 3. I like this book, but as I've been saying all the way through the New 52, I tend to like the horror stuff more than the superhero stuff right now. Is it because I don't like the changes they made with the superheroes? Not really. I'm not that attached to DC, so it really didn't, affect me or offend me in any way, shape, or form. But there's just something about bringing back those 70s classic staple horror books is great. Well, and making Dial H kind of more of a horror book, which it wasn't.
No, never.
But it now is somewhere rides that line between, the heroic and the horror.
That line has really been the strongest whole line out of the New 52 launch.
Agree, yeah, absolutely. Agreed. Then we've got GI Combat number 3. I like this book, but let's also say, and be very clear about this, I really like The War of the Time Forgotten. I really like the idea of soldiers from various times fighting dinosaurs in this weird play. It's way better than Turok ever was. It's got, rather than just a couple of Native Americans, like, oh, we got caught by these honkers. Wait, what? Come on, guys. These are guys who know what dinosaurs are. This is this weird kind of a war book with dinosaurs and other people even still, fighting amongst each other. There's also a backup Unknown Soldier story in it. Unknown Soldier's interesting. I'd say the first couple were pretty good. So I do enjoy that book. It's not selling particularly well, but I think people just haven't given it a chance because they don't know what to do with the war books.
True.
But try it. It's good. Then I'm looking at Infernal Man-Thing number 1 from Marvel Comics here, done by Steve Gerber. It is a great cover.
Art Adams cover is fantastic.
And Steve Gerber, who worked on all that early Man-Thing stuff. I mean, that's where Howard the Duck sprung out of.
This is probably the last thing he wrote, or last thing he finished.
Yeah. The interior art looks pretty good. It's Man-Thing. Again, I'm in kind of a horror place. I'm liking all that sort of stuff, and I like swamp monsters. There's nothing to love about a swamp monster. Then I'm looking at Invincible number 93. This book has still been really good. We've got, the other dude is still invincible. I mean, they haven't wavered on that. It was kind of an interesting evolution. Mark Grayson's got some problems with his arm, and right now he doesn't really have his powers. He broke his arm punching on the alien. And this, this virus that they were going to try and wipe out the Viltrumites with, he doesn't have any powers right now. So, all right, what are they going to do? Is that it for Mark? I don't think it is.
No. What do you do when Invincible is no longer invincible?
This book is so good, though, because of the way it evolves.
Yeah.
I do like evolution in this book. I don't feel like it's... we were having a heated debate about Spider-Man and the various retcons, and I don't feel that this retcons anything. It just evolves.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, hey, remember that thing? Yeah, we totally forgot that Gwen Stacy actually, slept with Norman and had 2 babies. We're just going to slide that in here now. Invincible doesn't do that. I'm not touching that. So...
I have one gripe with Invincible.
Go ahead.
AMC picked up Walking Dead and Thief of Thieves. I want Invincible on TV.
Oh,
so it's not a gripe with the book. It's a gripe with AMC.
What a fantastic hour of television that would be. You know, you're trying to do all these superhero shows on TV, and it always just kind of warps and does what they want to do, heroes and whatever else. But this, you can kind of take a nice, realistic story. You know, and granted, it's just some wacky superhero stuff
and it's more
going
realistic
on.
To begin with, yeah.
Yes.
In terms of the people.
Yeah. I think this would make great TV.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then he puts the tights on, you got some human elements, puts the tights on, goes punches something.
Yeah. Monsters, dinosaurs, aliens, and heart.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Then I'm looking at Morning Glories, issue 20. I've finally gotten caught up on this book. And they're finally starting to give you something.
Right.
What I liked is it seemed like the centerpiece was this out in the woods run that they had to do. And, you know, you're kind of getting a piece of the story, and then suddenly it's someone else's perspective. And you're like, wait, did I read? Because that's what was confusing me, too. I wasn't sure what I'd read and what I hadn't read, because they would tell you a chunk, and then it would go back. And I'm like, did I read that? Well, that looks familiar. What the hell's going on? But you're realizing who the key players are now and what's going on. And there's definitely some kind of time travel thing happening here. And very weird stuff, but we're finally starting to feel like we're getting some answers. At least that's how I'm feeling. And reading 5 issues in a row probably also helped with the comprehension. Next, I'm looking at Thief of Thieves number 6. I still really like this book. I think Nick Spencer's doing a great job on the writing. You know, story by Kirkman. Spencer's actually doing the heavy lifting. It's good. Admittedly, from issue to issue, sometimes I'm kind of like, wait, what happened again? Oh, okay, all right. It's an interesting, book of thievery. It's almost like a 70s heist movie, as I've said before. You know, you can almost vision a Steve McQueen or somebody in there.
Yeah, very great kind of noir art too.
Yeah,
Sean Martinborough.
Yeah, I like it, and I think it's gonna make good TV.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Right now we're kind of steep in just this one major arc and what they're trying to figure out with our main character and his son. Is that going to make a 22 episode season, or if it's just a 12 episode season? I guess it's AMC.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I'm sure they know what they're doing though and where they're going. So it just might be one of those things because the book's still so fresh and they're working on it now. The series is probably going to exist side by side by the book and be something kind of different.
It'd be different
because they're working through their story at the same time.
It's a working formula, so why change it?
That is the bulk of my stack. What are you looking at there?
Well, I'm going to start off with Amazing Spider-Man because I just saw Amazing Spider-Man last night and I thought it was amazing. If you are looking for a Spider-Man movie that is very, very faithful to the details, you may be disappointed. If you're looking for a Spider-Man movie that's a big action movie, you may be disappointed. But I liked it a lot. And I like this book a lot. Coincidentally, this has the Lizard and Kurt Connors in it.
Can you imagine
that? Because the movie, Marvel is so lucky. They're so lucky that happened. But yeah,
there wasn't time or anything.
But Kurt Connors, he was the Lizard. They changed him back into Kurt Connors, but it's just the Lizard in Kurt Connors' body. Kurt Connors is basically gone, and he's just an insane reptile that's pretending to be a human being at this point. Morbius is in it, so it's got vampires too.
I love Michael Morbius. I love that character.
Lizards and vampires and sewers, oh my. But this is a fun book. Dan Slott's been doing a great job on this book for a long time now. And it's just really good Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah, we've got 2 or 3 years worth of story here in just a couple of years.
Next up is another Spider-Man. This is Ultimate Spider-Man. Now, if you like this, you probably will like the Spider-Man movie because there's a lot of stuff from the original part of Ultimate Spider-Man that sort of factors into the movie. But again, this is a different Spider-Man. This is Miles Morales. This has been good stuff. He's been teaming up with his uncle, the Prowler.
Are they teaming up or are they fighting?
They're teaming. Well, he's kind of blackmailing him. The Prowler basically said, if you don't help me out, I'm going to tell your dad. So,
all right.
So it's always great to have a superhero afraid that his dad's going to find out his secret identity.
No, don't tell my dad. Come on, God, man.
So, but it's very, very, very different, especially now. I mean, it's Spider-Man in name and basic design only. This has nothing to do with the Spider-Man you knew, which makes me like it even more, actually, because now you can't, think, oh, well, that's not really out of character, because it's not. It's Miles Morales.
Right.
It's not Peter Parker.
You don't know what the character is.
Yeah, I mean, this is Hal Jordan to Alan Scott. The original Alan Scott, the new Alan Scott, which comes up later, is even a little bit more different.
So next got a weakness for wood.
The Cape 1969. I don't know what this is, but I like the Cape, and I figure this is going to be more tales of that crazy cape that seemed to be happening in Vietnam. But the first story was
Wasn't
great.
it a blankie at first? So
Yeah.
did you get the blankie from Vietnam?
Maybe it's another blankie. Maybe we're being invaded by
blankies.
By blankies that make people fly and turn evil. I don't know. But the first book was really good, and so I definitely want to give this a shot. Next up, creator-owned heroes. I was a little ambivalent about this, but after I read it, the two stories were pretty solid.
Okay.
They're both a little bit shorter, so that, they haven't really gotten into the meat of things yet. But I really like this format where you've got the two different stories that are moving ahead kind of slowly, plus a lot of really nice content. This is half comic book, half magazine, so it's got some interviews. And really, it's a lot of content for only $3.99. I mean, if you want to talk of value in terms of how much time you're going to spend reading it, this book is really delivering on that. Next up, one of my surprising favorites, Fury Max, the story of the young 1950s era Nick Fury continues. He was in Vietnam. Now it looks like he's going to be dealing with Cuba. So it's got a lot of Cold War politics, which fits Nick Fury perfectly.
Absolutely.
And you can go back and you can read the Nick Fury stories that are set in the 40s, and then you can read the Nick Fury stories that were set in the 60s. But other than like that Avengers 1959, which I didn't read, and a lot of people said went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, you did kind of at the end. I liked it at first. I did like it ultimately, but it got a little wacky.
And then this is basically Nick Fury without superheroes. There's no superheroes in this. This is an alternate universe. This is the Max universe. So yeah, like I've said before, you could just pull the eye patch off and turn it into an image book. Next up is my A versus X for the week, Uncanny X-Men number 15. In the last issue, it was barely an AVX tie-in. The only thing that they showed is that Mr. Sinister has built this city, and he's prepared for the arrival of the Phoenix Force 5 or whatever they're called. He knows it's coming, and apparently he thinks that once they show up, he can snag that Phoenix power for his own. So he's got some plans that probably aren't going to work. He's the villain. What are you going to do? Next up, Smallville Season 11. Again, another one that I'm surprised by. The second issue also just did a very good job of capturing the voice of the TV show. Now, admittedly, it was not the best TV show, but I enjoyed it a lot. But for now, it's still working. I enjoyed the show, and it's a really very believable progression from where they left off. I know that somewhere down the line, they're going to be introducing Batman, which was something they could never do in the TV show. And yeah, Superman can fly out into space. They can do all the stuff they never had.
They just opted not to.
Right. Well, the Batman stuff. But in terms of like the special effects budget, they can now do all the stuff that on Smallville they had to sort of cheap out on. So it's kind of nice being able to see Superman flying through the air, or seeing Tom Welling fly through the air and lift a satellite or something. Because in the TV show you weren't going to get that. So, but yeah, it's nice to see that they're actually going to be bringing in Batman, but again, making it very different. This is a different DC universe than we're used to. Next up, Action Comics. The shocking new reason behind his new secret identity. I'm not really sure what's going on. I think this one is still taking place in the past. I think they faked Clark Kent's death in the last issue. But obviously everyone knows that he's around in the present. That's kind of a problem when we've got these books that take place in the past and the other book takes place in the present. I don't know how it's all going to line up, how it's all going to fit, but Grant Morrison, I still like his work a lot, and Miles Morales is back, and he's a great Superman artist.
Grant Morrison, don't worry, it'll all make sense after 3 years of stories come out and you read them in the proper order that they weren't actually printed in.
And they published the other 2 issues that they didn't do the first time around. Don't forget about that. Next up, Red Lanterns.
I wonder if while he's shaving his head, he doesn't take a little too much off the top.
I think he's smoking when he's shaving.
Maybe.
Next up, Red Lanterns. Basically, we've got the Red Lanterns versus the Star Sapphires. So it's kind of love versus hate. Pink versus red. 2 chicks fighting it out. However you look at it, it's good stuff. And next up, we've got Earth 2, number 3. This is the actual debut of the gay Green Lantern. The character showed up before. Now he becomes.
I don't think he's gonna be like the gay Green Lantern. I think Alan Scott is gay, and he's gonna become.
No,
the Green Lantern.
he's a gay Green Lantern. Interesting, but
is he throwing Mardi Gras beads? Is he flying and saving the day? Like
he's very 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 neat and tidy, and
even as the Green Lantern.
Yes. He uses the power ring to clean things and make everything look nicer, and make the property
uses the power ring to stir his fruity drinks.
He makes the property values go up on the Hall of Justice. So, but yeah, this has been a really good book. I was kind of at first a little leery about this idea. I mean, I thought when they announced Earth 2, we were gonna get a standard Justice Society book, maybe even set in the 40s, which would have been awesome. They went total 180. This is a completely new thing. At first I didn't like the idea, then it grew on me. But this is much closer to the James Robinson of Starman than the James Robinson of Justice League.
Yes.
It's still not Starman. I don't think he's ever going to top that.
That was the one great thing he had.
But this is maybe a little closer to the Starman of that Golden Age book.
Sure.
James Robinson, the Golden
and
Age.
I like that Earth 2. I've really been enjoying it so far, and I think it is good. I like what they're doing with the characters. I don't, I felt like the attempt to make, or in making, him gay was really heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure everyone has read it at this point, but his lover dies anywhere, presumably. There's an explosion, so that just seemed like a plot point to move us forward.
Yeah.
I mean, then he's going to use that as his emphasis to be the hero.
And the ring.
So that he's gay, is it even important?
Probably not, but he is.
He sold extra books, though.
That's all that counts. They're going to make a lot of people gay after that. So that's the bulk of my stack.
I'm still hoping they make Batman gay.
You mean they didn't?
Not officially.
Okay.
So, after
Tell that to Joel Schumacher.
You know what? After issue number 10, I was like, man, that's gay. And incidentally, apparently they have a Joker story coming up in the Batman book, and I made a little comment on Scott Snyder's Facebook page. He sent me a message. He's like, all right, just hang in there for number 11 and let me know what you think.
All right.
So now I'm on the spot. I got to let Scott Snyder know what I think there.
Tell him to watch WeekNGeek and you'll find out.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, maybe I can swerve that and get us another viewer. So my top pick of the week here is, you just ended off with some James Robinson. James Robinson has 2 books on the stands this week. Not at all what you think. One of them, got your JSA kind of thing, your Earth 2. The next one we got He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, not at all gay.
Maybe. He's wearing those furry underpants and the furry boots. Who knows? None of my business.
Got a big sword.
Yeah. James Robinson with art by Philip Tan. Looks good. Looks pretty cool. It's I think it's just a 6-issue deal, just a 6-issue miniseries.
Odd that this is DC.
It is kind of odd that it's DC, and I don't even know that they really have anything He-Man big in the works right now. There's no animated series. They had just done that Thundercats thing at Cartoon Network, so I'm kind of surprised they're doing He-Man, but really looking forward to it. And I know in the meantime, Michael Morrissey and Steve Seeley are probably chomping at the bit because who knew? Grown men loved He-Man so much. But it looks cool. It's my top pick. It's James Robinson writing He-Man. That is weird enough of a combination that I need to try it. What on earth made anybody, let alone James Robinson, think, I need to write a He-Man book? I don't know. Maybe he's a He-Man guy. Who knew?
Probably could be.
But I'm willing to give it a try. I think it looks good.
Cool.
What are you looking at there?
My top pick is Batman Earth 1 by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank.
Wasn't it supposed to be Jim Lee?
I don't think so.
Wasn't it solicited as Jim Lee?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
Because I think that's why they left Superman, and they did Superman Secret Origin and this.
Okay.
And now they're doing those Shazam backups. But this is yet another, retelling of Batman. This is Earth 1, so it's theoretically a different planet. We had Earth 2 before. Now this is another Batman. And I don't know what's going to be different. It looks like, is that the Penguin? I don't know. It could be the Penguin. But definitely, Jeff Johns has got a good take on most of the DC characters, and I'm really curious to see what they do here. I mean, they did that Superman Earth 1, which was actually quite a bit different from
people seem to like it though.
So I don't know if they're going to try and do something as radical here. I would imagine so, because they're free from continuity.
Do whatever they want.
They can just keep the name, keep the identity, and do something a little bit different. Looking through this, it's got a little bit of a very tight Batman Year 1 vibe.
After issue 10, I was feeling like they were pretty free continuity too, but Zing!
He was a Bronze Age character. He was real. And they got rid of him once because it was a dumb idea. But in any event, this looks pretty solid. Looks like we got a slightly different, very different take on Alfred here. So I'm just really looking forward to getting
I think it'll be good.
a
I'm
very
gonna
different
read that
vibe from Batman. And I really like the idea of these nice continuity-free graphic novels. You know, it's just really a good idea. Someone can come see The Dark Knight Rises, come in, pick this up, not have to worry about whether or not Batman had a brother.
You can sell Batman hardcovers. That's why they keep putting out these original graphic novels
That's
now
true.
that all have Batman in it, because they know they can move them.
That is the Penguin.
Oh, interesting.
Sorry, spoilers. Penguin's in here.
So,
But,
and one other thing
thing.
I'd like to shout out as we've gotten through our picks here. There's also Wolverine is out this week, and apparently they have brought back Sabretooth.
Really?
Apparently, getting your head chopped off by the only sword that can kill you isn't enough to kill him. So we got Sabretooth back. That might interest some people as well.
Well, it is the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, right. And we've also got the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen that 2009 came in this week. Apparently, a couple of local stores had it last week. My distributor's going to be getting an earful about that. But I didn't get them until this week. We do have them, and we will be open on the 4th of July from 10 to 3 because we will have books.
Nice.
With that is your Week in Geek.